Well, hello, my beautiful balancing Libras. How are you, my gorgeous ones? Thank you so much for having patience. I had my birthday, so I took a couple of days off. I was trying to get through all the videos for June before taking my couple days off, but I wasn't able to get to them, so I'm doing them now. Um, so, my gorgeous ones for June 2018, let's see what we got going on. Welcome, everyone. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Cindy. I am the modern day spiritual advisor. I use multiple modalities, including tarot, astrology, mediumship, hypnotherapy, all kinds of stuff to help you on your path. So let's see what we got. Today is the 4th, but I'm going to look on the 5th. We had this grand trine that just happened, grand water trine. But on the 5th, which is tomorrow, let's look at that date. We have the Sun conjunct Mercury, and that is going to be, this is you Libra, so 12, 11, 10, 9. So this is going to be in your ninth house of belief systems, foreign travel. You could be dealing with foreign people. So when the Sun conjuncts Mercury, well, that means they're having that conversation. This could be lit up in this house. So if you've been dealing with higher learning or foreign travel, if you've been dealing with, I mean, this goes beyond this because it has to do with your fourth house as well. It's going to be like you're going to have this opposing stuff going on, but tomorrow this is the bigger energy for you, which is Mercury always brings a message, and the Sun wants to clear things up. So there's some sort of understanding that you're trying to, or that you're going to have a breakthrough in, and this is because, see this square here, this square with Neptune in your sixth house. The sixth house is about your daily routine. I'm not going to go in depth over all the houses and all the aspects of what's going on. I'm doing that on my extended video on my website. I'm going to be working on those this week, so you can come back to this video and there'll be an icon up here where you can click on it and purchase that for download. In those videos, I go over like really what's going on in those houses, and then I do tarot spreads where I do like 4 spreads with using 6 different decks. So so let's just talk about, I can go over each of the days, but I really want to talk a little bit about what's been kind of holding you back, right? Okay, so this is your first house, Libra, second, third, fourth. So your fourth house your fourth house is about the heart, the home is where your heart is, but it has to do with your mother, it has to do with property, and it has to do, it can have to do with relocation and education sometimes too. So with Saturn being in there, this has really caused delays. This has really caused you hard work. Whenever you have a planet transiting your fourth house, you will ultimately be changing either locations, the relationship type with your mother figure, or the higher learning, right? And so you could change residencies, but ultimately this is about the change in your security and your comfort and how you feel. So, or yeah, how you see things and how you feel. And that's what you're doing when you're growing in this house, and when a planet transits this house. Well, you've had Saturn, Pluto, and Mars in there, right? Mars is now in Aquarius right here, but it's going to move back into there. And so we'll talk about Mars and Aquarius in just a minute. But I feel like for you guys, when I was like meditating on you guys, this has been like these big changes. And you had Jupiter in your house last year, and a lot of you understanding Jupiter were like, why didn't I get the blessings? Why didn't I get the luck? Why didn't I get the, and so it was because of these other harder aspects that were going on. So some of you got some things, but you didn't get like you didn't get the big changes that you thought you were going to get. But that's also because it's moved into your second house, which is your value system, your worthiness, your finances, all of that. Like having to do that second house has to do with that. But now you have your fourth house that's been lit up all year, right? So you've had the second house that you're growing. And by the way, when Jupiter brings you this stuff, it doesn't automatically dump it on your lap. Jupiter it's expanding, so it brings you and it brings you and it brings you and it brings you and it just sort of expands on the bringing, right, on the gifts. As your retrograding here with Jupiter and understanding. So all retrogrades are about amending, revising, editing, and some completions can come through, right? And so as you're understanding your worthiness, what it is to have your finances, how to deal with your own finances, how to deal with what you feel is of value to you, right? That's your second house. But your fourth house is like it's your place of security and comfort. It's the place where you ultimately understand your home is where your heart is, right? Like your heart can be wherever you are in life, like wherever you are even on this planet. Like maybe you come to an understanding that doesn't mean, maybe you move to the other side of the world and you realize I feel comfortable because I feel comfortable with me. I feel secure with me. You know, I have that going on. And that's kind of what you're learning in this house. I hope I'm not confusing everybody. So with Saturn being in there, you've had delays. You've had to really work hard. You've had to really understand. But whenever, like I said, whenever a planet moves through this fourth house, it's about you ultimately changing residences. Not everybody's going to change residences, but these three changes could come about. Either changing residency or your sense of security or your relationship with your mother. Okay, those three things could come about with this house. It has a lot more to do with a lot of other things. Those are the three major things that I wanted to point out. So with Pluto in there, Pluto is about control. Pluto is about bringing things up and Pluto's like the outer sort of energy, and so it'll bring it up as you need to change it. It'll bring it up as you need to understand about controlling and your power, right? And so maybe in this fourth house, you were trying to figure out whether you're going to, maybe you've been dealing with changing or relocating. Maybe you're dealing with the relationship between you and your mother. Maybe you're dealing with understanding that even though things have been lost and then they've been found, and maybe you've gathered some more, and then maybe some things have been harder. Maybe you're coming to a place of security for yourself. That's what's been going on in this house. And this month, the reason I'm bringing it up, because this is the bigger energy for you, because you guys have done a lot of work. You've really done a lot of work. Not just having Jupiter in your first house last year, but this year too, in your second house, and then your fourth house being really lit up, right? And then your sixth house has Neptune in there, and your 10th and your ninth house have been affected. So your belief system, your understanding about yourself, your growth, right? And feeling safe and comfortable and secure in yourself. So this month, you have Pluto. So even on the 5th, you have Pluto opposing Venus. So Venus always wants to bring you love, luck, and money, right? And so this is in your 10th house. So your 10th house is about your career, your life purpose, your persona, your reputation. Accolades could come through here with Venus. Money could come through here. Love could come through here, right? And so with this opposing, there could be being something brought up, because these are in retrograde right now. So this is about reorganizing, amending, editing, kind of seeing a different way and understanding a different thing and maybe having to tweak it, right? And so with this opposition, maybe something's trying to come through, but it's understanding your power, understanding just what it's going to be to make you feel secure, whatever this is, right? And with Saturn there retrograde, it's about you. You could have delays. You could have had delays in this. This is kind of what you've been dealing with. But ultimately, you're understanding how to be more secure with you on your own. I mean, even if you have a partner, still feeling secure on your own, still feeling comfortable on your own, still having that understanding on your own, right? Okay, so Neptune is over here sort of helping you see things in a better light, but also you have to take a second look when Neptune is in your sixth house. Your sixth house is your daily routine, your health and well-being. So maybe some things have been pulled up. Neptune is going to go retrograde here. So whatever you've been working on in your daily routine and your health and well-being, that could be being edited, revised, tweaking, having to change something. Something's going to change. And it's going to go retrograde this month. So I just wanted to say that about that particular thing. Let me go over what's the highlights of what's going on. Um, so on the 12th, sorry, hold on. Yeah, so on the 12th, Mercury is going to enter Cancer, and that's going to be in your 10th house. So Venus was already working in your 10th house. Mercury's bringing a message in your 10th house. And then you had this North Node in your 11th house, really understanding about expanding your relationships with groups, right? And it's the North Node, so it probably has to do with female groups or bigger groups, right? So when Mercury comes in here, he's got a message that he's going to bring to your 10th house. So maybe you get word that you're getting a bonus, or maybe you get word that you're getting a new position, or maybe you get word that you're getting some accolades with Venus being in here, and then Saturn sort of has delayed it. But then when Mercury comes, maybe you actually get the message about exactly when it's coming, or exactly when that's going to be given to you, right? And so that could be going on in your 10th house. And that's going to be on the 12th. On the 13th, we have the new moon in Gemini. I'm sorry, I have like this, I've been doing the deeper reading for you guys for my website, and I'm trying not to do that here. I'm trying to just give you the highlights, because I know people don't like long videos, but on my website is where there'll be the long, in-depth aspects of these things. So I'm trying to like pull back. That's kind of where I'm trying to gather my thoughts and pull back. So on the 13th, we have the new moon in Gemini. So new moons are all about new beginnings, manifestations, things being completed and having something new come in, right? New moons are where you want to take your attention and your focus, and you want to move it into the next 30 days. Like look in the next 30 days or 3 months, whatever, but next 30 days usually is where you can use all the energy of that and say, where do I see myself? What do I see myself accomplishing? How do I see, this is your manifestation time. And with it being in Gemini, and I have videos on the new moon and the full moon, and everything I talk about, I will leave in the description box below as a link, or I'll leave it on the side of this video at the end of the video, or with a little eye up here in the corner. All right, so Gemini in your ninth house of belief systems, again, this new moon is about this new understanding, but for some of you, it could be about travel too. It could be about long distance travel. And it could be about maybe looking into a vacation, or maybe you have some travel coming up, or maybe you're going to see family. Like whatever this travel is, now's that time to sort of manifest that. Like maybe you want to do it, or maybe you're thinking about doing it, but you're like trying to figure out, like maybe you're trying to figure out the finances, or maybe you're trying to figure out how to take off time from work. Like this is the time to actually do that in this new moon. And Gemini is all about travel. Geminis love to travel. So Gemini is going to help you travel. It's going to be expressed in that way, in a very Gemini way. So, and Gemini likes to research things. So Gemini with the sun and then with the new moon in there, it's going to help you see the way. That's what I can say for you. It's going to help you see the way either in your belief system, or either if this long distance travel or short distance travel is coming, or this higher education, right? It's going to help you see this. It's going to help you if you've been doing higher education, like if you're started a class or you started self-study. It's going to help you see things clearly and sort of organize things and see how to do it, right? So that's going to be happening on the 13th. On the 14th, try not to go too deep here. So on the 14th, Venus enters Leo in your 11th house. Now, you've been working with this North Nodes. I haven't spoken too much about the North Nodes, but you've been working in this North Node within the 11th house. So the 11th house is your social networking. It supports your 10th house. It has to do with groups. And when Venus comes in there, it wants to bring you love, luck, and money, right? And so with this North Node being retrograde, you've been revising and editing and trying to figure something out, and maybe you're trying to figure out just who your group is, or how that group's going to help your 10th house, right? Your persona, your reputation, your accolades. Maybe you've been doing something in this 10th house with your career, trying to figure out how to bring it to the group, or maybe you've been working with a group with your career, right? And so when Venus comes in there, and Venus was just in your 10th house, so it's going to support your 11th house. Your 11th house is the house of gain. So you're going to gain something in here, right? And again, it may not be something huge because you have Jupiter here in your second house and you have Saturn here in your fourth house, right? And so these two will give you beautiful, big, huge gifts, but they don't give it to you all at once. So Saturn is known for giving huge gifts in the end, right? If you've worked hard and you stayed focused and you did the work, Saturn will give you your gift plus more. But Jupiter expands and expands and expands and expands slowly, right? So it will, as you learn and as you become responsible, it gives you more gifts, right? And so that's sort of the way that it brings those in. Now, with Mercury in Cancer, it's going to be a really sensitive time. So, and this has to do with your 10th house, which is your career. It could be dealing with people. And your fourth house, right? Your fourth house of your understanding, feeling secure. Maybe it's your mother. Maybe it's about the relocation. Now, there's an opposition here. So, Mercury brings messages to your 10th house. But because it's in Cancer, you could receive the message the wrong way, right? Or someone, or maybe you give a message to somebody at work and they receive it the wrong way, right? Because Cancer is very sensitive, and especially with the moon right here. So just watch this day. But whatever it is, it has to do with you. It has to do with one of those three things that are changing in your life: either your sense of security, your sense of pleasure, your sense of property, or your property, and a relationship with your mother. It could be one of those things, okay? So that looks like that's opposing on the 19th. I'm sorry, on the 14th. On the 14th, I don't know where I got the 19th. Okay, so that'll be happening on the 19th. Then we have on the 18th. Did I say the 19th again? I'm so sorry. I meant the 14th. 14th. Okay, then on the 18th, well, some of you it's the 19th. Maybe that's why I was saying the 19th so much. So some it's the 18th, some it's the 19th. And again, it kind of depends on where you are in the world as to which day. We could be, if mine's the 18th, you could be the 19th, or you could be the 17th. It just kind of depends on where you are in the world. So on the 19th, Neptune goes retrograde. So Neptune's been in your 6th house, right? So Neptune is that planet that wants to sort of dissolve identity. It wants to see the group. It wants everybody to meld. It's illusionary. And so maybe you haven't been seeing things very clearly in your health and well-being, or in your, sort of with rose-colored glasses, in your daily life activities or daily things that you need to sort of get a hold of, right? Well, when it goes retrograde, it's going to cause you to readjust, amend, edit this area of your life. So maybe you need to take another look at these things. Maybe, or maybe for so long you hadn't been looking at your health and well-being, and maybe Neptune being in there caused you to want to be more healthy and better, right? And so whatever you've been working on with Neptune going retrograde, you could have some amending to do in this. Okay, so that's going to be happening on the 18th. Now on the 21st, on the 21st, the sun is going to enter Cancer. Again, this is a very sensitive time. When the sun goes into Cancer, it is going to shine the light on whatever this message was, or whatever this thing was that's going on here with your job, or with your work, or with your career, or your persona, or your accolades, right? The sun is going to bring clarity to what's going on, and so that will be going on in your 10th house. Now on the 23rd, look at the 23rd. So on the 23rd, you have the sun. I think you can see that. So you have the sun sextile Uranus, right? And so the sextiles, the sun is going to be in your 10th, Uranus is going to be in your 8th. This is the 8th house of power, understanding your power, of transformation, of other people's resources or money. And so, Uranus likes to shock and awe, and but it likes to shock and awe to liberate you. Now it's at 1 degree now in Taurus, so it's going to be expressing itself in a very Taurian way, which means that it's eventually over the 7 years, and this is why I'm doing this video series on Uranus. Eventually, that is going to be where you are going to be more comfortable, more stable, financially stable, feeling very well, and especially with your 4th house lit up here. So when Uranus and the sun sextile, this is an opportunity. So some opportunity could come from, and this being in your 10th house, either you receive accolades or you receive more money somewhere here. There's an opportunity to make more money. There's an opportunity to have more money. There's an opportunity for, I don't know if you've been working on a loan or whatever it is that you've been sort of working on. There's an opportunity here to receive that or make the way to have that, right? And so just understand that that's on the 23rd. I'm just making sure this is your 10th, 9th, 8th. Yeah. So your 8th house. 8th house. All right. And then on the 26th, again, I don't want to go too deep. On the 26th, this is when Mars actually retrogrades. So for some people it's the 26th, for some people it's the 27th. So we'll do the 27th. So Mars is going to retrograde, and this is going to be in your 5th house of creativity, right? And so with your 5th house of creativity, not only are you working on your 4th house with, maybe relocation or property, maybe relationship with your mother, but ultimately this is about working on your sense of security, your sense of pleasure, what brings you these things, right? And so the 5th house is about, your love affairs. It has to do with, and I like this, the 4th house has to do with the heart as well as the 5th house. The 4th house is where you learn how to receive love, where the 5th house is where you learn how to give love, right? And so there's something that you're trying to create or have been trying to create or going to be trying to create, that when Mars comes here and retrogrades, whatever you're trying to create, it's going to have you work and amend and edit and redo these things. But we could be having not just something that you create, because it has to do with love affairs. You could have a past love come so that you can complete something, amend it, complete it. So you could have a past love come back to you, just so that you can complete the circle, so complete the phase, have this understanding. And whatever's going on here, you're going to have to work on it. And because Mars is retrograde, it's going to have you work on it. And you won't see the actual results of it till September, October, right? So, this house also has to do with your children too. So maybe you're having to help your children who are having some crisis. Yeah, and that's all I'll say about that. Just know that you'll be working on that, and you'll be having to really push hard and really focus on that and really do that when Mars is retrograde in here. Okay? And remember, this is all, again, I'm going back to your 4th house. Your 4th house to me is a really important house right now for you, because it's where you're able to see and understand and finally feel comfortable again, right? This is where all these changes are going on for you. Okay? Now, you have all these other things going on, but I think this sense of well-being is what you're needing, or what you're wanting to grow in, so that you understand your security again. Okay? So, that'll be happening on the 26th, and it will be retrograde till August 26th for some, 27th for other, 27th till August 27th. But you probably won't finish it, whatever it is that you're doing, probably won't finish it till September, October. Okay? So on the 28th, let's look at the 28th. So on the 28th, we have the full moon in Capricorn. And again, this is in your fourth house. So this is a really, really important full moon for you guys. I feel like this is a really important full moon for many of you Libras. Now, obviously, the 20-year-old Libras and the 30-year-old Libras and the 40-year-old Libras and the 50-year-old Libras, 60, 70, and so on, you're all going through different phases of your life, but these things are active for you, right? So you're going to receive it in a very different way. The 20-year-olds are going to receive it in a very different way than the 60-year-olds or the 30-year-olds or the 40-year-olds or the 50-year-olds, right? And so what I'm seeing when I'm looking at this general chart is that the fourth house is really, really important for you guys. And in this month, this Capricorn full moon, fourth house for you is really important. The full moons are all about letting go, all about completing, fate, destiny coming through, right? Letting go of what no longer serves you. So when I'm looking at this fourth house, with Saturn being in there, with your past of Jupiter being here, and then Jupiter was here for you, with this being, when I'm looking at this, I'm seeing that there's an understanding that you're coming to or need to come to, and there's some letting go of someone, of something, maybe some property. Again, maybe a different phase of your relationship with your mother, letting that go, maybe finally understanding the past, maybe letting go of what no longer serves you and understanding, okay, that was then, this is why that happened, and now this is now. Whatever this full moon is, it's something that you've been working on because it's Capricorn. So Capricorn's methodical. Capricorn will think about 10 steps ahead before he will make the first step, right? Or he or she. So, and Saturn, again, being in there, having these two were retrograde. So amending, editing, revising, understanding, completing. There's a completion that's going to go on here, and there's an ending of letting go of some sort that's going to be going on here for you guys. Okay? So, that will be on the 28th. Also, your fourth house could be your extended family. So maybe it's a relationship where it's changing with your extended family. Okay? But something's going to be being let go. Either an idea or a sense of something so that you can have the sense of security, or maybe property, or could be an individual. I mean, just kind of depends on your situation. So, then on the 29th, Mercury moves into Leo on the 29th. So Mercury again moves in. Mercury is going to be moving into Leo. Again, that's in your 11th house of gain. So he is going to be bringing a message to whatever it is that you've been working on here with this group, supporting your 10th house. There's a message coming. You'll have Venus here. And so Venus wants to bring love, luck, and money. This is the house of gains. So I don't see that you really lose anything per se. Like if you lose anything, it's because you cut it off, or you narrowed the group down. Whatever it is, you actually do it, but it's so that this group can expand, because it is the house of gains. So whatever it is, the message that's coming, whatever it is that you've been working on here, there is a message being brought to you. And I think it's connected to, because it's connected to your 10th house, it has to do with love, luck, or money. Like maybe you're just in the right place at the right time. Even though you've been working on this for a while, you just happen to be at the right place at the right time, and it brings more money, and it brings a bigger group, and it brings more clients. Like if you own your own business, maybe it brings clients. Maybe it brings your first client, or maybe it brings more clients than you've had before. So just understand that's going to be going on. And Mercury is going to behave much better in Leo. He's going to behave much better in Leo than he is with Cancer. He behaves well all the time, but he's got more room to be able to do things in Leo. Okay, so you should reap more benefits when he's in Leo than when he's in Cancer. That's what I'm saying. So you may have been working on things, seeing some stuff, getting some getting some messages, having some understanding, and then finally when Mercury goes in here whatever it is that you've worked on, you will probably come through around that time. Now, will it come on that exact day? Maybe, maybe not. It kind of depends on your chart. Depends on your specific chart. I wouldn't know until I went in there and looked, because I'm going on the whole signs and the general reading. And some of you have these houses that are smaller, some of you have these houses that are bigger, and so it may be a couple days later for you. It may actually be a couple days earlier for you. It could actually be a week earlier for you, or 2 weeks earlier, or maybe 3 weeks later. Just kind of depends on your chart. That's why I offer my services. Anything that you'd want to look at my services, I'll have the eye up here in the right hand corner. And that's all for the chart for June. So let's look at your tarot. I think you guys are sitting pretty. I love this tarot spread for you guys. Let me look at you. You have the Emperor. How much better can you get? You're building your dynasty. You're building your community. You're building your wealth. You're building, your more expansive you, right? That takes time. That's not an easy feat. And yes, you've been working on this for 2 freaking years, right? It's about time. Maybe 1.5 for some of you. Maybe 1 for some of you. But you've been working a long time. And this thing that you're building, this dynasty that you're building, this empire that you're building, this sense of stability and sense of security and sense of well-being and sense of peace, all of that you're building takes time, because you've had to clear out stuff. You've had to clear out relationships. You've had to clear out maybe even properties. You've had to clear out, you've had to clear a lot of stuff out. You've taken that year and a half to do that. And so now, not just taking that out or letting go of those things or processing those things, you're trying to understand, wow, well, where do I want to go? That's what you've been trying to do probably in the last 6 months. Where do I want to go? What is the type of dynasty I want? What am I trying to build? Like, you had to clear your mind, you had to clear your heart, you had to clear your way before you could even figure out what it was that you were wanting, right? And so now you're in that space of building that you want, right? And so in your first position in the month of June, you have the Emperor. This is you in the month of June. So there's organization, or you're dealing with an organization, or you're dealing with some sort of structure. And Saturn being in that 4th house is structure to me, right? Saturn is all about structure, delays. He can delay stuff, but he will bring you the most beautiful things when it's time, right? He just wants to know you're serious about it, because he's going to bring you that and more, okay? So right now, you're building this dynasty. Right now, you could be dealing with a bigger organization. You could be dealing with bigger groups. This is in the month of June, but you're building this for yourself. It's a strong, sturdy, like, when the Emperor is there, this is something that even after the Emperor is gone, it's still going to last. That's how solid and sturdy this is, right? So your challenge is the Ace of Coins, or the Ace of Pentacles. Your challenge is understanding which new starts to make. Understanding when you make the start to stay grounded, to keep it going, because the Ace of Coins gives you the opening, or it's the gate, right? It gives you the opening or the opportunity or the way to step through to a solid foundation, to a solid start, to something that's going to be long lasting. When you have this and you have this, I'm seeing long lasting security, long lasting relationships, long lasting wealth, long lasting. That's what I'm seeing. But the challenge is to stay focused and understand that these starts, these beginnings, these things are just beginnings. And you need to put more effort. You need to stay focused. You need to actually ground it. You need to put more energy into it. And don't get unfocused. And don't waver, right? So that's a challenge. It could be when a past love comes back, because that house is activated. That 5th house is activated. When the past love comes back, or if a past love comes back, being very solid in who you are and what you want, and not sort of, going off kilter, or getting thrown off by the fact that the person wants to come back or is coming back. You get to decide whether you want to have that person back or not. And maybe that person has changed, and maybe you decide that you want them back, but maybe that person hasn't changed, and maybe you decide you don't want them back, right? And so with this new start, But maybe you guys decide, okay, we're better off not being together, but we're better off being friends, and that could be a start. So understand when somebody comes back, it's not so that you can be with them forever. It's so that you can finish out your phase with them, whatever that is. Okay? So in your third position, this is your fate, your destiny in the month of June. You have the Queen of Coins. So some of you, if you're ready, um, romantically, you do have someone coming in. This is the Queen of Coins. To me, it's not gender specific, it's about the character. So this person is very charitable. This person is very, very giving, very, she works hard, she loves luxury, but she loves to give from her heart. And so, but she has no problem giving to herself either. So she's really balanced in that way where she can give. And when she gives to people, she doesn't like to be noticed for it. She's just one of those that gives. Or he's just one of those that gives, never tells anybody, you would never know, right? But they also love opulence and beautiful things around themselves. But they understand they've worked really hard, so they can't have that, right? And so that person could be coming in. If it's not romantic, and it could be both, it could be romance and business. If it's business, this person is very charitable. This person will help you because they're very methodical in what they do, and they can get you to that next long lasting level, right? And they're here to help. That's what they want to do. Why do they want to do it? Because they're the Queen of Coins. They love to help people. It's within their heart to do so. They don't want anything back. They're not going to throw it in your face later. They're one that gives without even saying anything, not even needing to be noticed, right? So that could be happening with your business, with your accolades, with your 10th house. Now, in your fourth position, this is what you'll be moving through. This will be kind of all month. You have the Empress. So these things that you've been working really hard, these things that you've been sort of rooting in your life and working really hard at and putting the energy into and going back and seeing it again and revising and editing and all these things that you're wanting to do, you have some coming true. The Empress is about birthing those things. The Empress births the things that have been rooted, births the things that have been grounded and nurtured. So those things will be popping up in the month of June for you. I think you have a great spread, especially with this Emperor, with all the structure you've been doing, with all this finally taking charge of your life and finally doing what you want and finally having that for yourself. I see that you're going to reap the benefits. Not only are you pulling some stuff from what you've worked through or worked on, but you have help coming too. So, congratulations. Have a wonderful, wonderful month. Again, you can come back in a couple of days and probably about Thursday and look to see about the extended video on my website. Love you, love you, love you. Bye.